You ever have that sinking feeling when you do something in a different situation and you're like, I don't know if I made the right choice? A few years ago, I got to go to Portugal with my family, and I remember thinking I knew how to navigate the metro. We went on one trip once, and it ended up taking us into a completely different location that we didn't want to go to, and wasting precious hours of our vacation. While we were able to enjoy the journey, you may not feel the same way if you're in a career that you are loathing or you're wondering if you made a mistake. I think many people start pharmacy this way. I think choosing your career in your 20s is like a really bad decision. You're in your 20s. You're trying to figure out life. And to dedicate yourself to a giant profession where you're kind of locked into doing an industry is a big decision. And frankly, if you've ever questioned whether you're on the right path or not, you're not alone. I want to share with you the mistakes I made in my career and why I chose pharmacy and if I would choose it again. My hope is that you can learn from my story, the mistakes I've made, so that you can avoid them and be a whole lot more intentional, purposeful, and have a much more fulfilling career than when I started out. Because it's totally possible for you to find a passion within this profession. Let's take it back to high school. I'm growing my hair out like Frodo Baggins, and I'm a walking contradiction. I'm smart enough to get into the advanced classes, and yet I'm a goofball enough to land regular detentions. My GPA was about a solid 3.7, but my decision-making skills was gotta be a 0 out of 10. I wasn't the smartest kid in class, but honestly, it really bothered me that I wasn't. There was always someone a little bit quicker, a little bit smarter, from high school to undergrad and to graduate school, and it always bothered me. But that competition kind of pushed me to want to work harder and prove myself. My parents really valued academic excellence, and they saw that I had potential, so they pushed me in order to do my best. And I got good at math and science. And because I was within the smart kid group, I kind of felt the expectation of I need to pick a career path that matches my ability. I took an aptitude test in high school, and I remember it giving me a very surprising results. The first one was principal, and I was like, yeah, right. What qualifies me for the principal role is the fact that I always end up in the principal's office because of behavioral issues. Didn't want to do that. The second one was interesting, though, to me. It was a pharmacist. And honestly, I had never considered a pharmacist. I didn't know what they did, but it was kind of like a light bulb moment for me where I was like, that's interesting. Maybe I could do that. Let me break down my simplistic and naive thought process at the time. Pharmacists make 6 figures, and that sounds like a pretty good income for someone who was making $20 a week from his parents. I didn't have to touch blood, butts, or guts, and I'm someone who gets just queasy looking at anything that's inside the body that should stay in there. Ugh, gross. To my naive brain, it seemed like a great option. I could even work part-time and make a really good living. And plus it was healthcare, so my parents would be proud of that decision. And it wasn't like being a doctor, which is something I definitely wasn't interested in. Plus, I had 2 great uncles at the time who were pharmacists, so I thought it's a sign, I should do this. So feeling pretty confident about my newfound career path, I decided to shadow a community pharmacist. And this is where I made my first huge mistake, one that would shape my expectations for the rest of my career. I watched this pharmacist in the evening, after school, on a Wednesday, I think. I watched him count pills. I watched him sign stuff. I watched him counsel elderly patients about things. And I was like, this looks manageable, if not easy. 6 figures and all you have to do is this? This sounds really simple. Oh, if I only knew what I know now. Fast forward into pre-pharmacy, and I was struggling. I remember calling my mom and dad in panic mode and saying I've made a mistake. I'm going to fail. I'm not going to make the cut. But here's the thing about me. I'm stubborn and prideful. There's no getting around it. I'm a goofball who if you tell me I'm going to fail, I'm either going to hold it against you or I'm going to agree with you, especially if it's related to anything athletic. So I persisted. I pulled all-nighters. I formed study groups. I went to tutoring. But even through all of this struggle, I didn't still even really understand what a pharmacist actually does. I was focused on surviving coursework and not really considering what are you going to work on for the rest of your life. Entering pharmacy school felt like a roller coaster, and I hate heights. Oh my gosh, I freaking hate them. I get on top of it and I feel like I'm going to throw up and I'm going to die. I found myself questioning my choice more and more. I suffered a lot in pharmacy school. I tried to just survive through classes, and I got a job as a technician in retail setting and in the hospital setting, and I was like, wow, these jobs seem really boring and awful and stressful, and I don't like it at all. And all during this time, I'm kind of getting indoctrinated to the residency route and thinking like, okay, if I'm a clinician, then I'll be happy and I'll be engaged and I'll enjoy what I'm doing. But here's the thing that I learned once I entered into actual pharmacy after I graduated and passed my boards. The skill set of the typical pharmacist were things that I was not great at. To be a pharmacist, it requires critical thinking. I'll be honest, I go with my gut a lot of the time. It requires meticulous problem solving, and I'm more of a, let's try this and see what happens. It requires attention to detail, and I'm a big picture person. The little details, they slip by me. It's why I hire out my COO and my operations manager to take care of those details. And it requires a perfectionist approach, and I'm more of like a good enough. Like, 28 Viking out of 30? That's close enough. Clearly, I had a problem, and it was like trying to fit a square peg into a round hole. I could do the job, and I could do it good enough and ethically and follow the guidelines and do the procedures. But like, if you've ever tried to play that game of fitting a square peg into a triangle or round hole, like, put enough pressure and you can force it through, but it's going to be painful and it's going to require a lot of force. And every day for me as a pharmacist became kind of a struggle. Because honestly, the work itself, I didn't find meaningful. I didn't find achievement. I wasn't engaged by the work. It just wasn't shaped for me. Here's the thing about me that I hadn't fully appreciated until I got punched in the face by the workplace. I'm a creative person. I love to experiment. I love to innovate. I love to do weird things, like be on a YouTube channel about pharmacy. That's weird, okay? In many professions, these are valuable traits, but in pharmacy, it's not so much. Don't get me wrong, there is a place for innovation in pharmacy, in leadership roles, in advocacy, in entrepreneurship. But when you're dealing with medicine that can literally be the difference between life and death, you don't want someone going, yeah, let's try this antibiotic. Maybe it'll work. I'm very thankful for my stubbornness and my pride because it forced me to think I've got to find an avenue for this. I'm not going to take just the job that I had that honestly I could still be in today and retire and be happy in like another 25 years. But I didn't want that life for me. I mean, if I'm really honest, that future scared me because I knew I was going to burn out. I knew that would hurt my marriage. I knew that would hurt my relationship with my kids, and it would cause probably a bunch of health consequences too. So my creativity broke through that, and I looked for outlets from that within the field. So while I was working as a clinician, I eventually hit a breaking point where I was burned out. I was miserable. I had bullies in the workplace. I didn't enjoy the work. I was getting loan repayment plan with the employer. I just bought a house. I had 2 young kids. I felt trapped, and that my only avenue to escape was to force myself into not being a pharmacist anymore. So I created businesses that were totally un-pharmacist related. I sold stickers online on Etsy. I sold baby strollers on Amazon. I got into investing Bitcoin and oil and gas. I even got into a franchise. And what was funny is that during this 4.5-year long journey, like the thing that actually was making me a ton of money was medical writing. And I didn't do more of it. Oh, what a stupid decision. It's so funny. When you're trying to run away from yourself and your identity, you think that if it's something new and exciting like other people, that it'll work out for you. But I'm a pharmacist. That's who I am in my blood. And the very thing that was making me a ton of money was the thing I didn't want to pursue. I didn't want more of it. That's one decision I regret. But through all of this, I made the leap into entrepreneurship. Founder, executive, leader, coach. I took on roles that allowed me to be creative, that allowed me to feel engaged and meaningful and feeling like I was achieving things. I almost became a professor. I applied to quite a few jobs. I got interviews, but I decided, you know what? I just want to help like 20 pharmacists get a new job, because then I don't have to deal with the politics and the bureaucracy of those institutions. And don't get me wrong, there are great academic jobs out there. It's just not my bag, and that's okay. It was terrifying and exhilarating all at once. And in 2016 to 2017, I helped those pharmacists get those jobs, and I was like, okay, this is how I can help my profession. I found my purpose. Through my struggle, through my pain, I found a new way, but I didn't let it end there. I kept pushing, I kept trying. And in 2018, I was able to quit my job and do this full time. I found my path. So what's the big takeaway for you in this? It's simple and yet profound. Who you are matters far more for your happiness, your career satisfaction than what you probably are thinking. Your personality, your strengths, your values, your passions, your curiosities, your interests, your weaknesses, all of these play a huge role in choosing a career path and being happy in that path. It's not just about finding a passion. It isn't about finding a great opportunity. It's not just about finding a job that looks good on paper or impresses your parents or puts you in the right circles. It's about finding a career that aligns with you as a person wholly. I thought I wanted to be a pharmacist because I thought it was safe. It was a smart choice. Good salary, respectable, no blood or guts. But I never stopped to really consider if this was the right fit for me. Like, it's not. But I found my way through it, and I wouldn't go back and change it. If anything, I would probably have been, though, more proactive, if anything. So I'm not saying that I at all regret my decision to become a pharmacist. It certainly was a hard path for me, but it's made me into who I am. I met my wife through the college. I started a family because of it. I found my passion within the profession, and now I do what I absolutely love. And I'm happy that I get to serve this profession by helping pharmacists do more of what they love, by helping them get better jobs to make a better impact. And honestly, my hope and my dream is to help 10% of pharmacy get new and better jobs, because I believe that will create a tipping point that will force these major corporations to treat their pharmacies better, that will make better workplaces. Because if 10% of your workforce just up and left and to go work at someone else, they're going to take notice, because profits will decrease. It'll cost them a lot of money to find new people. And they're already feeling a little bit of the squeeze, having to offer again bonuses, which hasn't happened since the 2010s. No, before that. Let's talk about the current state of our profession. It's in a state of burnout. It's high stress, high workloads, high intention to leave jobs, high intention to not even look for a job if unemployed as a pharmacist. And staff are being asked to do more and more with less time, less staff, less resources. It's high stress, but here's my take. We're at a crucial point in our profession. We have the opportunity to reshape it. So it's time for us to gather together, to speak up, to advocate for our challenges and for our profession so that we can better help patients. It doesn't have to stay this way. It can improve and it can get better. And there are companies that are doing a good job and treating their pharmacists right. I know this because I know these pharmacists and I've helped them change their careers. If you're feeling stuck in pharmacy, or if you're considering entering in the field, remember this world of pharmacy is so diverse. So many different career paths are available to you. Don't be afraid to explore different areas and get curious about what could be a good fit for you. You can't do this by yourself. You know, your mouth is right below your nose, but you need someone else to tell you that your breath stinks. Look, talking to other people hopefully not hearing that bad news, can probably help you reframe your situation and look outside of yourself, because that's what I did. I had coaches and mentors and professors, I almost got a PhD, telling me what I could do in this profession. That my pain of burnout didn't have to be just one event. I could dream one day of trying to prevent it for more people. Because if I can save pharmacists from depression, from burnout, from anxiety, if I could make these pharmacy organizations change, I could keep more families together. Because statistically speaking, if you're burnt out, you're more likely to divorce. I could save families. I could save lives, because we have the 14th highest suicide rate in the nation, according to the CDC. And that really inspires me to be louder, to help more people. But had I not chosen pharmacy, who knows? We can't invent time travel, according to Neil deGrasse Tyson. So I'm on this path, and I don't regret the pain that I've gone through. I do know that my journey has led me to where I am, and my hope is that it inspires you to go through the pain that you may be going through, knowing that tomorrow can be better. And that it's okay to change directions. It's okay to start over. 98% of the pharmacists we help stay within the profession, but 2% leave, and they do totally different and wild things. And it's okay. Your career is more than just a paycheck or a piece of paper or a resume or a LinkedIn. It's something that should fuel you, give you energy and enjoy, because you have one life. Enjoy it, man, or girl, guy, whoever. I'm happy to have you here. Thanks for watching this video. My hope is that this inspires you a little bit to change your situation. And if you'd like to learn from the 3,000 plus pharmacists we've helped, I run a weekly course called Offer in 6, where I share our method of how pharmacists are getting those jobs in less than 6 months. There's limited spots, so if you click the link, answer a few questions, I'd love to hang out with you. It's live and interactive, so it's a little bit like this, but I'm actually talking to you, and I'm not just looking into a camera and feeling awkward that I'm talking to just a camera. What I'm saying is, I just want to hang out with people. Thank you for watching this video, and until I see you in the next one, stay curious and take care.